ดีค่ะ very good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight. I'm Nabunag.
I'm Tulip Nak Sompop Lao.
And it's Chinese New Year, so happy Chinese New Year to you.
Happy Chinese New Year.
And I remember you told me once that you never received a red envelope on Chinese New Year.
No.
So I decided to give you one.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you.
And
Nice.
maybe you should open
It's
so
kind
that
of big.
Yep,
Is there money in there?
just open it.
Oh, how appropriate.
Because people say being healthy is more important than being rich
True,
right now.
be healthy is more important than rich. Thank you very much. I didn't prepare anything for you.
It's all right because
This is my first red envelope.
but I hope you like my red envelope anyway. And today we'll still give you the latest updates on the COVID-19 situation as well as other news you need to know for today. And we'll begin the show today with the latest figures from the CCSA. And today, Dr. Apisamai Sirangsan announced that 201 new infections have been recorded today. Among them are 185 local transmissions and 16 infections from abroad. Of the locally transmitted cases, Samut Sakhon recorded 129, including 73 found through proactive screening and 56 among those under observation. 17 cases are in Bangkok, 37 in Tak province, including 14 found during proactive screening and 23 among those under observation, and 1 case each in Rayong and Kanchanaburi. As for the imported cases, 7 of them arrived from the US, 3 from Sweden, and 1 each from Pakistan, Sudan, Japan, Russia, Turkey, and the UK. And so far, 885 more patients have recovered today, and around 4,225 are still being treated in hospitals. The new cases today raised the cumulative infections in Thailand to 24,104, while the total number of recoveries is now 19,799. No new deaths have been recorded today, therefore the death toll remains at 80. Dr. Pisamai said that starting from February 15th, health officials in Samut Sakhon will check the antibody levels of about 8,000 Myanmar migrant workers per day to determine if they have developed sufficient antibodies to allow them to be discharged from quarantine and reunite with their families. She also added that on February 28th, the CCSA will discuss whether some restrictions can be eased after 2 months of tight travel restrictions. And regarding the cluster of infections at Chulalongkorn University, 2 new cases were reported yesterday, pushing the total number to 16 according to the university, which offered its assurance that the situation is now under control.
Okay. Situation under control. It's a very good sentence to hear
Right.
about anything, actually. Well, it seems like Thailand is going into a right direction, but before that, we have cluster that happened because of the gambling den.
Yep.
And then it comes the panel set up by the order of the Prime Minister to find the whoever that involved or behind this gambling den in the officials in the governments. And yesterday we were reporting to you that on the 12th, which is tomorrow, they should report that to the Prime Minister. And today it was in the news again that another person involved in the gambling den in Rayong was arrested. The fugitive tycoon who allegedly operated a major illegal gambling den, thought to be the source of a large cluster of COVID-19 infections in Rayong, was arrested by police this morning in Mueang district of the province. Armed with court-issued search warrant and led by Police Lieutenant General Roy Inkapairod, police searched a large house surrounded by high walls in Soi Raj Samakhi in Nen Prasap district. Somchai Chutikidet, also known as Longju Somchai, was found in the house. He is suspected of involvement in the running of several illegal gambling dens in eastern provinces. The COVID-19 infection connected to the gambling den in Rayong is thought to have led to hundreds of people in Rayong, Kanchanaburi, Chonburi, and Trai provinces contracting the disease, resulting in a preventative lockdown of Rayong. Following a raid on the illegal den in Rayong, Somchai went into hiding and had not been heard from until his arrest today.
And moving on to Pattaya, and because of the latest COVID-19 outbreak, many of them has imposed very strict measures, and that also includes the time limit of the opening of such restaurants, bars, and pubs as well. But although the situation has already eased there, many of the owners of the pubs and bars have complained that the opening, the restrictions are actually not enough for them to make a living. So let's look at more details in this report. Signs that say permanently closed in front of bars, pubs, and entertainment venues in Pattaya reflect the problems that owners are facing during the COVID-19 outbreak. Many of them could not save their businesses as their income relied heavily on foreign tourists to the tune of about 24 billion baht a year. The owner of the Lisa Guesthouse Bar, located on Jomtien Beach, joined others in demanding the reopening of entertainment venues. Although they have reopened, she thinks that only being allowed to open until 11 p.m. does not ease their burden, as customers don't normally arrive until around 9 p.m.
คือคุณเอาอะไรมาวัดว่าโควิดมันจะติดหลัง5 ทุ่มอ่ะคุณเลยมาวัดถูกไหมลองไปดู Walking Street สิคะเงียบมากอ่ะคือมันอยู่ไม่ได้อ่ะ
Bar owners on Jomtien Beach agree that the latest outbreak has meant some had to put their businesses up for sale. Sadly, however, there are no buyers due to the economic situation. The scene around 10 p.m. at Anna Bar was of flashing lights, music, and staff waiting for their missing customers. The owner of the bar revealed that she has to pay 120,000 baht quarterly rent. She is having to sell food to help 9 of her staff and has been forced to reduce their monthly salaries by 50% to just 4,000 baht.
เพราะว่าลูกค้าเราจะมาประมาณช่วงเย็นทุ่ม2 ทุ่ม3 ทุ่ม4 ทุ่ม5 ทุ่มแล้วมีเวลาแค่3 ชั่วโมงคนหนึ่งแล้วขายแค่2-3 ขวดก็ปิดแล้ว5 ทุ่มอ่ะเราได้อะไรอ่ะแล้วพอช่วงที่เราขายได้เขาไม่ให้ขายปิด5 ทุ่มเราก็ขายไม่ได้เราจะทำยังไงต่อถ้าจะเป็นแบบนี้ต่อคือเราไปไม่ไหวแล้วเราต้องเซ้งกิจการ
A cashier at Cheeky Bar said she had been working there for a year when the outbreak began. Although her salary is not high, she still gets extra money by entertaining customers, but she now has to save money due to the outbreak.
โอ้ทิปบางวันเงินเดือนไม่ใช้แล้วใช้เงินทิปอย่างเดียวเลยนะใช้ตังค์ทิปอย่างเดียวเงินเดือนไม่ต้องใช้เลยเก็บอย่างเดียวทำโรงงานก็ทำทั้งวันทั้งคืนใช่ไหมได้วันละ300โอ้ยเหนื่อยต้องทำงานมาแล้วปีนึงโรงงานเนี่ยมันเหนื่อย
Meanwhile, a 65-year-old tourist from England who just completed his quarantine said that he decided to travel to Thailand for 3 months as the COVID-19 situation here is improving. He also believes that Thailand is good at controlling the spread of the virus and feels safer here than in his home country. He is also glad that bars in Pattaya are allowed to open until 11 p.m. as he thinks it will help local tourism to recover. Kanchanaburi has found no new COVID-19 infections in the past 10 days. The province recorded a total of 649 infections in the latest outbreak. All of them have recovered and have been discharged from hospital. The improving situation offers some hope for entertainment venues, as their owners hope that the Provincial Communicable Disease Committee will accept their requests to extend their opening hours until midnight to help alleviate their suffering and to boost local tourism.
Right now, everybody is going through some, I can say everybody, I think, going through difficult times. And 2020 has been a strange year for most of the people.
Definitely. And for this case, we can see that because of the restrictions that were in place, there are so many limitations to the services that they can give, and that really affects the income. As the report has mentioned, is that many of the bars relies on foreign tourists, but because of the COVID-19 situation, no foreign tourists are actually coming, so their income has decreased, and sadly some of the bars had to put them up for sale, and they
Right.
had to close their businesses.
And no one's buying because
Yeah.
no one is making any money.
Definitely.
Well, now we're moving on to the government saving bonds that just issued this month called RaoChana. Everything is Chana these days.
Exactly. What is it?
Launched by the government.
Yeah. Thai Chana, RaoChana.
More Chana. What else?
I can think of, what was it? Thai Chana, Mo Chana, now RaoChana, and what else? I think there's more than that now.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Something Chana, it means winning.
Yeah.
So we are winning, or who's winning? I don't know. Anyway, we're talking about government saving bond. That name RaoChana is the same name as the government subsidy program that giving out 7,000 baht to people. But this is the government saving bonds. Most of the 60 billion baht government saving bonds have been sold out within less than 2 weeks. The Public Debt Management Office, or the PDMO, issued the first batch of RaoChana government saving bonds on February 1st. The Director General of the PDMO, Patricia Mongkonwanit, revealed that the 5 billion baht debt securities tranche was sold out within 8 hours through Krung Thai Bank's Paotang e-wallet application. She said that the money accumulated from the bond sales will be used to alleviate the plight arising from the pandemic crisis. According to the PDMO, there were 9,549 buyers of the RaoChana government saving bonds. 67% identified as those residing in rural provinces, and the rest were made up of people living in Bangkok. The average purchased amount was 520,000 baht per person. Patricia said that for the second batch of saving bonds worth 55 billion baht, 45 billion of which have been purchased by investors, and it is expected that the remaining amount will be sold out over the next 2 days. Patricia said that the government saving bonds are a good investment choice for investors because they come with minimal risk and generate a good return. This is especially true as global financial markets have been experiencing sporadic volatility stemming from economic uncertainties. The RaoChana government saving bonds distributed via the Paotang application have a 5-year maturity period and come with a step-up interest rate at 2% per year. Minimum investment is capped at 100 baht and the maximum is 5 million baht. For the 55 million baht batch of the RaoChana government saving bonds distributed through Krung Thai Bank, Bangkok Bank, Kasikorn Bank and Siam Commercial Bank, there is no minimum or maximum investment limit. The distribution period is divided into 2 phases. The first phase is scheduled for February 5th to 15th for the general public. The second phase is scheduled for February 16th to 19th for non-profit juristic persons and as defined by the Finance Ministry.
So we can see how popular it is with this government savings bond, despite the fact that the name is pretty similar to the subsidy scheme that we've seen so far.
And the average is 520,000 baht that people spending on these government saving bonds, and over 9,500 people. It's just to show that there's still a number of people that have what Thai people call cold money.
Yep.
It's the money that you don't have to spin around, or you don't have to juggle around.
Definitely. And moving on to another news, if you're sick of news that are related to politics, this news might be good news for you because Facebook will be rolling out news feeds with less political content. So that is in line with a plan that was outlined by Mark Zuckerberg to reduce inflammatory content. Facebook said it would begin testing the change for a small percentage of people in Canada, Brazil, and Indonesia this week, and then the United States in the coming weeks. The product management director, Asta Gupta, said, during these initial tests, we'll explore a variety of ways to rank political content in people's feeds using different signals and then decide on the approaches we'll use going forward. He also said that the change won't affect information about the COVID-19 pandemic and content from global health organizations or from official government agencies. He added that one common piece of feedback we hear is that people don't want political content to take over their newsfeed. The move comes with Facebook and other platforms under fire for enabling political misinformation and manipulation, notably during election periods. Mark Zuckerberg said last month that Facebook is seeking to turn down the temperature on its platform by reducing the kind of divisive and inflammatory political talk it has long hosted. He said that Facebook will no longer recommend politics-themed groups to users and was working on ways to reduce the amount of political content served up in users' news feeds by its automated systems. However, he said last month that we're still going to enable people to engage in political groups and discussions if they want to. So I believe that the move here came from the unrest at the US Capitol last month. So recently, many of these social media giants, especially Facebook, has came out to say that this is not okay anymore, so they have to do something. And that might be good news for people if they are sick of news surrounding politics and anything that would give some sort of misinformation here.
But Facebook will ultimately use AI, artificial intelligence, to detect what it is, what the AI think that should be reduce or omit or something from the feed. So sometimes it make some mistake.
Yeah.
Like right now you want to post something on Facebook, and if you do product shot, just you want to say, oh, I bought this, but then Facebook will think that you try to
sell a product.
Yes,
yep.
And then it will look different on the feed. Well, anyway, we just have to wait and see whether how it's going to work out, and it's not starting in Thailand yet. But it's probably coming pretty soon after they figure out how to work their AI.
Yep.
Now, move on to the next news. The ancient Khmer ornate stone lintels that has been on display at Asian Art Museum in San Francisco. It used to be in Thailand like 5 decades ago. Now, finally, it's expected to return to Thailand in March. The statement from the North California Attorney's Office issued yesterday by David Anderson, a special investigator for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. He is acting as an attorney in a lawsuit against the Asian Art Museum. He said that it had been resolved that the lintels will be returned to Thailand after it was proven that they were stolen from the country. According to the statement, the 2 lintels were in the possession of the former chairman of the International Olympic Committee, Avery Brundage, who eventually donated them to the Asian Art Museum in San Francisco. In the statement, Anderson thanked the museum for agreeing to return them to Thailand. Tatum King, the special agent at the US DHS in charge of this case, reportedly said that the return of the artifacts, which are of significant cultural value to the true owners, will help enhance the relationships between governments and peoples of the countries concerned, which is US and Thailand. He said that he and his colleagues had tried their best to restore the good relationship between the US and Thailand based on mutual respect. The 2 11th century stone lintels used to be installed at Prasat Nong Hong in Buriram province and Prasat Khao Lom in Sa Kaeo province. Coming home in March.
Yes, so
if
that
nothing
is
delayed by the COVID-19.
definitely, and that's definitely good news here. And moving on to the latest discovery in Kanchanaburi province, we may call this the soda fountain, but it's actually
A soda fountain.
Yeah, soda fountain. So we never thought that there was going to be a soda fountain really happening in Thailand, and I'm not sure whether you can really drink this one.
Oh, it said it's drinkable.
Okay,
It's
that would
drinkable,
be.
and it said it tastes slightly sweet.
So that's pretty amazing, we would say. And who would think that there would be a drinkable soda fountain in Kanchanaburi province? So Thailand's Department of Groundwater Resources has discovered an underground, highly carbonated and drinkable water source in Kanchanaburi province. The department's Director General Sakda Vichiensin said that this is the first of its kind to be discovered in Thailand. He said that the fizzy water even tastes slightly sweet. The department discovered the carbonated water during the search for underground water resources for farmers in the area. The one with the carbonated water is the third well being drilled in RaoChana district, and it struck water at a depth of 303 meters. The water currently shoots up to around 1.8 meters above the surface at a rate of about 50 cubic meters per hour. Sakda said the water becomes carbonated through the layers of mineral-rich limestone. The officials intend to drill another 6 wells and will declare the area a groundwater reserve to prevent private sector drilling, which will cause contamination. He also said that he expects each body of groundwater will provide more than 500 million cubic meters. So that will supply to people in 11 villages and 480 hectares of farmland in Hoi Kratao district, which is often hit by severe periods of drought.
So literally soda fountain.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone wanna, I mean the official, they have to, I guess they have to taste it to know what it is. That's why they say it's slightly sweet. But yeah, I wonder if anyone just wanna try, like people walk past and oh, soda fountain.
Soda fountain.
Literally.
When we think of soda fountains, it's more like an imagination coming from your favorite cartoon. So some sort of thing, but then who would think that it is actually real?
Oh well, when you talk about soda fountain, I just think about some fountain at the bar or at the restaurant when they just, you know,
Yeah, I see what you mean.
soda in the glass. But yeah, this is a natural soda fountain. Very interesting. I'm sure soon enough it might turn to be some sort of tourism spot if it's the only one in Thailand so far.
Call it unseen Thailand then, because when we speak of unseen Thailand, we would think of tourist attractions that are barely seen and are often underrated, but it's very beautiful and very unique and all of these things. But the soda fountain should be on that list as well.
I think just the name has some kind of comic character.
Soda fountain.
Yes, soda fountain. Anyway, that's all the news we have for you in this edition of Thai PBS World Tonight, but you can always check out for more news and information about Thailand on our website, thaipbsworld.com, our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. There's everything you need to know about Thailand in there. Explainer, politics, in-depth story, or just the current daily news, everything. And tomorrow during the daytime, Kittipat will live from Chinatown. Because tomorrow is actually the national holiday according to the government. They just announced it. This is the first time that they make Chinese New Year a national holiday.
So I'm pretty excited what he has in store for us for Chinese New Year special during the midday update as well. So better check out around 12 or 1 p.m. I'm not sure what time he actually does the live show, but it's going to be exciting, that's for sure. And that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS World Tonight. Thank you very much for watching. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ